You saw her there. Let's get the latest. Chriselda Lewis on the ground in the capital, Harare. Chriselda, I'm sure there's excitement, maybe some trepidation building. What are you noticing? What's the mood in Harare right now?
Well, a very good evening to you, Francis. Absolute optimism about the election come July the 30th. Many Zimbabweans saying they're looking forward to putting their mark on the ballot paper. And of course, as we're seeing campaigning reach fever pitch, we know that today the leader of the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance was in Chitungwiza, not too far from the airport, where they were drumming up support, calling on Zimbabweans to go out and vote and calling for people to exercise their right to vote in a peaceful manner. That's exactly the sentiment that was also shared at one of the places where the president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, was scheduled to speak, but was instead replaced at the time by the national chair of ZANU-PF, where they were meeting with some of the vendors. You would know that here in Zimbabwe, due to the ailing economy, there are about approximately 500,000 people trading in the informal economy, as I mentioned in that package. So ready to drum up support. We're seeing a lot of talk about urging Zimbabweans to go out and make their mark in a peaceful manner. But earlier on as well, I have to point out that President Emmerson Mnangagwa did meet with some of the observer missions that are in the country to basically look at how these elections will be run. We know that the African Union mission that is here as well to monitor these elections had met with President Emmerson Mnangagwa, that of course mission led by the former Ethiopian Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn. And we know that COMESA as well is one of the observer missions that is scheduled to meet with President Emmerson Mnangagwa in the next coming days. You'd know, of course, that he is currently in South Africa at the moment. He jetted out this afternoon, of course, to attend that BRICS summit. But I think what would be very interesting to know is whether President Emmerson Mnangagwa will take President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa into his confidence, given the fact that he is the SADC chair, on the state of readiness here in Zimbabwe. What we're hearing from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission at this stage, you'll recall yesterday they said about the ballot papers had been delivered to 8 of the country's 10 provinces, but we now know that ballot papers have been sent to all 10 of those provinces. Let's chat now to one of the observer missions as well, the head of the observer mission of COMESA, Ambassador Ashraf Rashid. Sir, thank you very much for your time this evening. I think you're certainly looking forward to that meeting with President Emmerson Mnangagwa. We're not sure when it's going to take place, but in the next couple of days, we hear.
We look forward to meet His Excellency the President, of course, after his return from South Africa. But we have started our meetings already with all stakeholders, from the government, from the parties, all the civil society. We have had extensive, really wide range discussions with them.
You were here, though, on a pre-election observer mission in May this year, and there were some concerns that were raised by various of the parties, including civil society, in the build-up to this election. What were some of those concerns, and how do you plan to raise them in that meeting with President Emmerson Mnangagwa? And I understand you're meeting the MDC tomorrow.
By the way, let me just clarify. Our mission here is to support the democratic process in Zimbabwe. We are here as observers, as impartial, non-partisan, and to look in an objective way to the situation and how it's developing with respect to the elections. We have already, as you said, we came before in May and met all the stakeholders. Of course, there were issues which were raised in the discussions, and we have conveyed those issues to the government from one side, but also to ZAC, the Zimbabwean Election Committee, and they were well received by them. And we have also noted that all sides are pronouncing a kind of call for peaceful elections, for a free and fair. We share this objective. We want to see Zimbabwe opening a new chapter in its democratic process. And we are hopeful that things will move in the right direction. But it's in the hands of the Zimbabwean people. We urge the people of Zimbabwe, we encourage them to go and vote, to exercise their right, and whatever the result is, to accept the result and to move forward in building the country.
Are you satisfied that some of those concerns that were raised in May have now been ironed out, and of course that would then pave the way for what you say you'd want to see, a free and fair election?
Some of their concerns, yes, have been already addressed. We are hopeful that if there are other remaining issues to be addressed in the coming days before the election, but at the end of the day, any contestation has to be in a peaceful manner, as I said, and that the main really factor is that Zimbabweans go in a peaceful manner to exercise the right to vote and to take the decision of who. It's not for us to judge, but for them to judge whom they see and have confidence in having the country move forward under his leadership.
One of the key issues that Zimbabweans have raised is the issue of the ailing economy in this country. We know that Zimbabwe is a member of COMESA as well, and you're basically looking at intensifying intra-trade. How do you see that post this election bolstering Zimbabwe's efforts in trying to resuscitate this economy?
As you rightly said, Zimbabwe is a member of COMESA, an important member of COMESA, and we are encouraging all member states to increase the trade among themselves, but also with other regional communities, with SADC, with the East African community. I think the impact of the increase of trade will be positive on the Zimbabwean economy. And as you know, COMESA has 21 countries now, extending from North Africa to the south to the east. And there is an agreement with SADC, an agreement with the East African community, which would really promote more trade among these three groupings. Trade is an important factor for creating jobs in the country, for increasing the economic value of the country, and we hope that Zimbabwe will make benefit from these arrangements we have already in place.
Just finally, before I let you go, Ambassador, I think one of the main issues that have also been raised is the issue of the movement of goods quite smoothly through the different countries. I know that was also raised very recently at the BRICS summit in South Africa by our international relations minister. And what is your thought on that? What would you want to see in terms of the movement of goods and how that perhaps could be done?
Sure. I want to tell you that COMESA has already taken very important steps in that direction. COMESA is a free trade area now. The issue is to encourage countries to make benefit of these arrangements which are in place. And I'm sure that in the coming years, we will see more trade among the countries. The opportunity exists, the arrangements are there. It's for the countries to benefit from these arrangements.
Always a pleasure speaking to you, the Ambassador Ashraf Rashid, who is the head of the observer mission for COMESA here in Zimbabwe, saying they're hoping for free and fair elections. We know that COMESA will be meeting with President Emmerson Mnangagwa in the next few days. They met with the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance today, and some of the civil society organizations as well, who also want to see this process go quite smoothly. We will cross again to SABC News live from Harare on the globe at 9:30. But of course, as we reach fever pitch now with regard to campaigning here in Zimbabwe, we know that the MDC's final rally will take place tomorrow. And of course, because the President Emmerson Mnangagwa is in South Africa, on Saturday, ZANU-PF will hold its final rally, Francis.
All right, thank you. So catch Chriselda then, but we continue because this is such a crucial election. Remember, it's the first election since 1980, since liberation, that Robert Mugabe will not be on the ballot papers. And of course, representing ZANU-PF after a soft coup, he came to power, Emmerson Mnangagwa, and trying to make his grand impression for the MDC, the opposition alliance, spearheaded by the MDC, is Nelson Chamisa. For more